Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, we talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.
Hello there, everybody. It's me, Garrett Kidney, the co-host of You've Got to Be Kidding Me on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
And I am Liam Jones, my full name, and I'm also a part of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network as a co-host for You've Got to Be Kidding Me.
We are a TNA history podcast that covers TNA 1 month at a time. We cover all the drama, all the matches, all the Vince Russo nonsense you could ever want in your life.
Have you heard of TNA? I bet you have, but would it be funnier if two people made jokes over it the whole time? Probably.
So if that sounds like fun to you, check it out on this very Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network, and Liam will do bits and whatnot.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome to Jumping Bomb Audio.
Welcome back to Jumping Bomb Audio, the #1 show all about the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling. My name is Taylor, and I'm joined, as always, by my very good friend and co-host, Kelly. Kelly, how's it going?
It's going good. How about for you?
Well, I can't complain. Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you can ask for.
That's exactly right. You know, I've been...
you know what? I'm not dead. Cool.
Well, I was about to say I have been, and I don't know, I'm sure many other people have been, following the saga of the Titan submersible. So I am glad to have not spent the week being crushed underwater.
Yeah, it's probably for the best. Though, if you make me rank being crushed and dying slowly while I run out of air and probably get eaten by one of my crewmates, I'll take being crushed.
Yeah, 100%. But you know, I'm still pretty young. I want to keep it going.
Yeah.
Either way, you know, there's still a lot of wrestling to watch. Imagine if you died, you wouldn't see it.
If they got, like, let's say they survived. Okay, let's say everything worked out. Like, they were found. But while they were down there, the kid that was, like, dragged along by his dad, what if he murdered his dad while they were down there? Would a court in the land convict him? Or would they just be like, no, that's fair? Or would it fall under international waters and under no one's jurisdiction? So it'd just be like, oopsie poopsie, oh well.
Well, I was thinking international, like maritime law, but wouldn't it fall under a scenario in which, like, well, I guess the question would be, they would have to interview everyone else and say what happened. But I would think it would fall under, and I feel like I have this in my head, even though I don't know whether it's a factual part of the law or not, but the idea of being in like a life or death situation, that there would, I think there may be some aspect of like doing it to survive, because there was a whole thing about, you know, if they had too much oxygen, or
Yeah.
if they didn't have enough oxygen but then someone died or something, that they would then have more oxygen. So it could be argued that it would be like, oh, they were doing it to survive. Like if you were in a shipwreck and you were stranded on an island and the person you were with died, like, are you liable for them? Because you're,
Yeah.
like, I feel like it
I'm
would fall under some scenario of like you're under extreme life or death scenario, and therefore you're doing things to serve, like, keep yourself alive,
Yeah.
if
I
that makes
feel like to
sense.
to sell that, you would also need to maybe eat them a little bit too.
Because, like, I do know this, and maybe this is what it's coming from, which is if someone is like if someone starts choking or has a heart attack or something, and you give the Heimlich maneuver, or you start to give them CPR, and let's say you like break one of their ribs or something,
Yeah.
or they get injured, you are not liable for that because you are attempting to help them.
Okay.
And in
That makes
attempting to
sense.
help them, you are protected from any injuries. Or, for example, if they then die, they can't come back and say, well, you did CPR, but you were doing it poorly, and that's why they died, so we're going to sue you or something.
Yeah, they can't throw a manslaughter charge at you for that.
It's like the Good Samaritan law or something. Now, of course,
Yeah.
killing someone in a life or death situation is not Good Samaritan, but you know what I mean? It feels like a similar thing where it's like you are under the assumption, you're working under the assumption that you are going to die if you don't do
Hmm.
this.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Um, but I guess any legal experts out there, um, let us know, because I have no idea. But anyway, this is a Joshi podcast. Welcome. Not a legal podcast, as we've just proven.
Which four Joshi would you put in a submarine?
Before we get into the show, of course, we have to do the plugs. Follow us on Twitter at JBombAudio. You can follow Kelly at Comic Geek Kelly, and you can follow me at Taymambo. Subscribe to the show on your podcast app of choice. And if that app of choice happens to be Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate a 5-star rating and review. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can donate to the show at redcircle.com/shows/jumping bomb audio. So let's get right into it. We are going to be diving deep into a show that happened mere hours ago. That would be Stardom's Stardom Sunshine show from the day we're recording this, which is June 25th. We'll be talking that. We'll be talking everything else that happened in the past 2 weeks of Joshi, along with previews of some big shows coming up: Stardom's Midsummer Champions and Tokyo Joshi's Summer Sun Princess show. But let's get right into it with Stardom Sunshine from Yoyogi National Gymnasium in front of 1,715 fans. Kelly, what do you think about the show overall?
I liked the show. I feel like it supports my theory that Stardom is better when they are being a Dragon Gate style promotion rather than a New Japan style promotion. Like I feel like they do that kind of storytelling and have those kind of matches better than if when they're just throwing other New Japan style matches at you. Like this reminded me of old Dead or Alive style cage matches, and I love those. So this was a fun show. I had a good time with this one.
Yeah, and certainly for us, people who talk about that there are not a lot of stories in Stardom, finally doing a story here, and it pays off. with. I thought a good show. I think really underneath the top two, really nothing hugely of note if you were squeezed on time, I think,
Yeah,
and
you can
you
skip
could
the
only
first
watch part of the
chunk.
show. It would just be watch the top two, I think, um, would be my recommendation. But
The only
I
thing, like,
enjoy.
there was 1 or 2 matches where I'd be like, if you've got time, watch them. But other than that, you can just watch the cage matches and you're fine.
Yeah, and I think doing something like this is, to me, much more exciting than doing some title defense that is a foregone conclusion. Just some random person challenging who is not going to win. I think that this is a lot better, and so they should do this more. The whole thing is, well, this proves that, Stardom, they do tell all these stories, but this is one show out of the year.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah,
some
it's
other
nice to
ones,
have this.
but it would be nice to have more of these type of shows, and also more shows that don't feel so um
Long.
well, that could yes, that could be one, but I was thinking more shows that are just sort of like, hey, let's go out, let's have some fun matches, and not every show needs to be like, this is the great challenge of our lifetime that we must witness
Yeah.
the struggle of God.
Yeah.
Um,
That's stop doing the New Japan tribute stuff. Stick with Dragon Gate. It leads to a much funner product.
so yeah, I like the show, and we have a lot to talk about on the show. So let's dive right into a match that I believe neither of us saw. The
Nope.
pre-show 6-person tag team match, the Stars trio of Hanan, Momokogo, and Saya Ida, defeating Aya Sakura, Waka Tsukiyama, and Yuna Mizumori in 7 minutes and 13 seconds. Neither of us saw it, so great job, everyone.
Bet it was at least 4 stars floor. Just classic. We need to go back and watch it.
The first match of the show proper was Kelly's favorite style of match, the Passion Injection match. Nane Takahashi defeating Hanako in 11 minutes and 59 seconds. And Kelly is such a fan of this type of match. I'll let you go first.
This felt like it was an hour long. I am fully on team cut Nane and hire someone else to work on Stardom World. Like I don't know. This was a big nothing match that was boring at best.
My first thought was I found it very odd to have the cage partially set up for the first match of the show.
I guess it must have saved them time.
Did they do that last year when they had the cage match show? I don't remember. I mean, I guess it must have saved them time. It still took them like 40 minutes to get the cage set up. So I don't know how much.
1 minute for every year old that cage is.
That's right. As for my thoughts, I thought Hanako showed good fire. That was really my other thought. Other than that, I thought it was pretty average.
Yeah, Hanako was not the problem.
Yeah. There's not really much to say about these. They all feel sort of the same. It's like the rookie fighting back against the veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Which can be a good style, but maybe not when it's on every single show that the company ever runs.
Yeah.
No
passion has been injected. No one comes out of these matches feeling more passionate than they were before. It doesn't inject me with passion, it injects me with boredom.
I think the only person who had passion injected in them was Waka. Because that was part of the whole storyline of she's a loser. But that was even after the passion injection match that she...
Yeah, that was long after.
...had the passion injected in her.
She got more passion injected by working in front of that New Japan crowd in America.
That is true. That is right. I don't know. They just feel like, oh, we're doing singles matches. We have Nanai, and we don't want to do anything else with her. So just have her go out and have singles matches that she can win.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was fine. After this match was the announcement of the blocks for the 5-star Grand Prix. In the Red Stars block will be Amisore, Natsukatora, Hazuki, Natsupoi, who had her intro video shot with her in a dryer.
What? Yeah. What was that? Was a very big like, stepbrother, I'm stuck kind of pose.
It was very weird because then I was keyed into it and I was like, well, is someone else going to be shot in a weird place? And really, no one else was. It was
No,
all
these
very
definitely
sort of standard.
these clips. They looked like they were just shooting them while someone else was taking still photos of them.
I mean, that's very possible.
It's probably what was happening, but it just
with the
came
photo
off.
books.
Yeah,
they do.
it was just weird shots to use for this kind of thing.
Also in the Red Stars block, Starlight Kid, Suzu Suzuki, Shuri, Saya Kamatani, Mayu Iwatani, and Tom Nakano. In the Blue Stars block, Hanan Mariah May, both the qualifiers from the 5-star Grand Prix qualifying Rumble, Mina Shirakawa, Azumi, Mirai, Momo Watanabe, Saori Anou, Maika, Utami, and Julia. So first, before we get into the first date, Kelly, what are your thoughts on these two blocks here?
I think they're good. I think the one like weird thing that stuck out to me was I didn't expect the two people that got into the got those last two spots. I didn't think they'd be in the same block. I thought that was kind of interesting.
In my first glance at the blocks was, and people may disagree, was that the Red Stars block to me is much more exciting than the Blue Stars block.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
You know, Amisore, fine. Natsukatora, not fine. But everyone else in this block, I was like, wow, there's going to be a lot of really like Starlight Kid and Suzu, Shuri and Suzu, you know, Tom and Starlight Kid, Natsupoi and, you know, Saya Kamatani. I'm like, there are a lot of very interesting matchups here. Where in the Blue Stars, there's maybe a little less. It feels a little bit more like things that we've seen a little bit of, except for Saori being in that block, who I think will have a lot of good matches. But like Maika, Julia, Maika, Momo Watanabe, I'm not exactly like, oh, yeah, I can't wait for that. But, you know, very good. I mean, you're still going to get Julia and Utami and, you know, Azumi and Saori Anou. It should be really good. You know, there's still good stuff. I think actually reading it here on the show, I was sort of like, oh, they're more even than I had in my brain when they were first announced. But they also announced the first date on July 23rd. They announced the matches. The matches will be as follows: Hanan versus Maika, Mariah May versus Azumi, Mirai versus Momo Watanabe, Utami versus Mina, Julia versus Saori Anou, Amisore versus Natsukatora, getting that one out of the way quickly. Starlight Kid against Natsupoi, Shuri versus Suzu Suzuki, Mayu Iwatani versus Hazuki, and Tom Nakano versus Saya Kamatani. So a lot of interesting matchups there, Kelly. What's maybe your top pick there?
Definitely Julia and Saori. Like that was the one that out of any of the matches I noticed the crowd responded to when they announced it. The rest kind of you could hear a little bit of cheering, but that was the one where you heard like, oh, the crowd popped for the announcement of that match in particular.
How many interviews do you think Julia will give in the lead up to that match talking about Ice Ribbon?
Probably a good amount, you'd think, right? Well, first, it depends. How long is she going to talk about how she wants to work in America?
Oh, that's true. She is working that bit now. I forgot about that. But I'm like, oh, here comes another ice ribbon person where we can go back to, Julia punching down on ice ribbon again.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think
I
Julia hopped on a plane to get to Forbidden Door?
I was thinking about that. I'm like, it wouldn't be impossible. Like, you would have to.
You would have
She
to
was in
hope that everything times out perfectly.
Yes, essentially every like your flight, you would need a direct flight, which wouldn't be hard, I don't think, to Toronto. That's a major.
You would need those
Um,
flights to not get delayed in any way.
but like, what time Eastern did this show end? Like 5 a.m.
Probably, yeah.
And you would think, okay, the main event went 45 minutes, so you could have left like at 4. But then you have to get to the airport. Let's say you had a 5:30 flight and it's about what, 12 hours?
Probably, yeah. Maybe a little longer.
I mean, and if you got on the main show, you'd have till 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely they're
it would be
putting Tana
doable,
and
I think,
MJF early in the show so that Julia's got more time to get to the show.
because she's going to interrupt after that. What does that have to do with anything?
Well, that's a one less match that could be after the women's title match.
Oh, I see what you mean. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I was like, are you saying Julia's going to come out and challenge MJF at the end of that match?
You know
Like,
what?
does
Why
that have to
not?
do with anything?
Let's do that. I'm into that.
Look, it's possible, but there's been
It's
all
not.
this talk about all this Stardom stuff. We haven't really talked about it on the show because I find it mostly boring. Um, it seems clear to me, and the thing that seemingly no one really talks about outside of the circles of Joshi is that Stardom doesn't seem that interested in doing it.
Yeah, Rossi does not care about America.
There's all this talk about like, oh, they need the visas, and no, they don't need the visas, and they need this, and they need some other crap, or oh, they're busy, oh, everyone's booked. It just seems like we haven't heard anything from Stardom that would indicate in any way outside of Julia being like, I want to work in America, which is a nothing at all. There's
Yeah.
nothing to indicate that they're interested at all in this, and I also find it very stupid. Now, look, I understand in this case, does Bushiroad want you, and you in this case being AEW,
Not you,
putting
the
Tokyo
wrestler.
Joshi wrestlers on the show? Probably not. But
No.
it seems weird to me that you are working with this whole company in Tokyo Joshi that seems very happy to send people, very happy to like be like, oh, so and so's leaving for 5 months. They'll be back whenever they're back. And yet AEW sort of like, oh, they're like, we don't care about them. Like dating someone else and actively being like, oh, I really wish I was dating that person. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? Like, what? And it's like, oh, Stardom's much bigger than Tokyo Joshi. It's like, yeah, why does it feel that way? Because AEW never does anything with them.
And then anytime Tony calls up Rossi just immediately falls asleep.
Sorry, I have to go buy some hats.
Yeah.
Click. But yeah, and it's just silly because I was at the Dynamite recently in New York where Mizuki wrestled in a dark match against Emi Sakura. The match was like 4 minutes long, and Mizuki got over, and people were like, "Whoa!" and they were cheering her by the end. And I'm like, it's not hard. They're talented wrestlers. You just have to not act as if being aligned with them is some sort of burden that you want to move past, so you can have flippin', Saya Kamatani come out and do an NXT match with
MJF.
or I'm just trying, Anna JAS.
Yeah.
So.
if you really think about it, there is at most a very short list of people that got over as quickly and as much as Maki Ito did in AEW. Because just think, I had so many people asking me, like, who is that? What's her deal? Like, she's great. Where is she? Where can I watch her? And it's like, yeah, that is someone that got over so much faster than pretty much the entire women's roster in AEW, and a good most of the men's roster, I would argue.
Well, I mean, the other one is Yuka. Yuka got over. She's so over, she's going to be in the first round of people in the video game.
Yeah, that rocks.
And she hasn't wrestled on Dynamite in like 9 months.
I can't wait to make Yuka have exploding barbed wire death matches against like Cody Rhodes or something.
But anyway, just like this is an illegal podcast, this isn't an AEW podcast either. Go listen to Voices of Wrestling, Good, Bad, and Hungry for all your AEW needs. There's a plug. Anyway, back to the 5-star Grand Prix. Yeah, should be good. I don't know. I didn't know where we left off.
I don't remember either.
It's hard to go back into it. The next match on this show, however, was Syuri defeating Xena in 7 minutes and 50 seconds. I believe Xena is now headed back home after this match. I thought this was a fun match. I thought Xena looked good. I liked her giant spin. That she did. I didn't know what to call it. It wasn't a
it's not swing. A swing. Yeah, no, and it's not an airplane spin. But it's a spin. It's like a side spin. Sidewalk spin.
There you go. You got it. I like that, and I like Syuri just demolishing her near the end of the match by kicking her in the face.
Yeah.
But fun match. I liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't anything amazing, but like Syuri singles match is always welcome on one of these shows, and it was overall just a fun match. I thought Xena looked pretty good here.
The next match was a 6-person tag team match. The trio of Natsupoi, Tom Nakano, and Kairi defeating the trio, the recently very close trio of Maika, Mai Sierra, and Suzu Suzuki in 14 minutes and 41 seconds. Once again, this might happen in every match until she wins it, but match made me really mad that Mai Sierra is not the high-speed champion.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, look, she's so good. Oh, too bad they had an opportunity to put the title on her and just decided not to.
Yeah.
But I thought this match was really good. I thought it was really fast-paced, quick. I thought everyone in the match worked hard. At first, I thought the first sort of part of the match, Tom seemed to be doing her sneaky, just hang out on the apron while everyone else wrestles gimmick.
The Makabe special.
Yeah. But then got into the match. And I thought everyone worked hard, and I thought it was a really good match. I went 3.5 stars.
That's exactly where I was, too. Yeah, I thought this was a pretty solid, just mid-card match with some decent names. And we'll see if this the losing team is some kind of unit after this, or if this is the last bits.
Well, 2 of the 3 of them, not to spoil future talking points on the show, but 2/3 of them are teaming again at the very next show. So,
well, that's good.
Something's going on.
Something.
The next match was our first of 2 title matches. The Goddesses of Stardom title switching hands on this show. The Club Venus duo of Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa defeating the God's Eye team of Ami Sourei and Mirai in 16 minutes and 4 seconds. Kelly, a result for us, but I have a very bad feeling that this portends something worse is going to happen.
Oh no. Oh god, I can't give my thoughts on that. I need to know what you think is going to happen.
I have a feeling that Mirai dropped this belt so she can gain another belt.
Yeah, that's the thing. I hope she doesn't because I think it would be really funny.
It
Like
would be
if she
funny,
goes
but
out there and just challenges Tom, is like, I'm gonna get this one belt from you, and then just fucking doesn't win it after winning the Cinderella 2 years in a row. Fuck it, give her the Cinderella 3 times in a row and have her not win again. Let's just keep this going.
I will say that Mirai, for maybe the first time in weeks, months, um, looked good in a post match
Yes.
exchange where she actually got the better of Tom. There was
Yeah, she took her head off. That was great.
video earlier this week, or was it this week, or sometime in this span since we recorded last, of Mirai confronting Tom at a video shoot and essentially looking like a big geek. At the end, she was like, I'm here, and they started fighting, and then Tom just beat the shit out of her. So good to see Mirai not looking like a total pushover for once. But as to the match itself, I don't really have any thoughts. I thought it was very average, and yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
all
thought it
I
was
got.
fine. I'm happy to see Mina with a belt again. Deserves better, but you know what? I'll take this. I think her and Mariah May are a good team, so I'm excited for whatever this run is going to be. Yeah, overall, just an all right match, but that's kind of been par for the course with this entire title run.
The semi-main was our first match in the steel cage for the Artist of Stardom titles. It was a escape rules match. The Donna Del Mundo team of Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla, the champions, retained their titles against the Stars trio of Hazuki Koguma and Mayu Iwatani, decked out in their seemingly now traditional cage match gear.
Yeah, the
That
cartoonish
match,
French women defeat the painters.
yeah, Painters is good. Um, the jeans, the matching jeans and neon shirts. Um, I really liked this match. I thought it was
Yeah.
good. I thought it was a lot of fun, and then I thought the final two, which was Julian and Mayu, really rocked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it started
And
off as like, oh, this is just going to be a fun match, and then it got down to those two, and it's like, oh, they're beating the shit out of each other. This is great.
yeah, and just going for it. I mean, the match started with them, with the Stars team getting Mai Sakurai in a submission as Julia and Tekla were trying to escape, and then they realized um, they couldn't escape so quick. They went back to help Mai. So it was sort of that um, sort of fun thing. You know, people were trying to escape and getting hit with, I think rubber balls or something at one
They
point
had
were
rubber
involved.
balls. They were popping balloons in their faces.
Yeah, popping balloons, which I don't really understand as a thing of, I guess if you were like, oh, it's so loud.
That one seemed to really scare Julia, though.
But if you're like hanging on to something, I guess if you're not expecting it, but she was looking right at, she's like, I hope you don't pop that balloon. And then she popped and she was like, oh, I'm out. I'm out of here. Also, interesting with both of these next two matches to watch the skill in not climbing up the cage, but climbing down the cage, which
Mm-hmm.
seemed to be a lot trickier for some people than for other people. There were a couple of people who just got over and were like, I'm falling straight down.
Uh-huh. The
I'm not
fucking the
climbing down.
dive that Koguma did looked insane.
Yeah. Lots of stuff off the top of the cage. I thought it was really good. I went 4.25.
Yeah, I was at 4. I thought it was great.
Really fun. Almost the same because they had the under cage match last year on this show with similar people, and I think I went around the same.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, it was a lot of fun, surprising. So hooray for consistency.
Yay.
The main event was the loser must leave unit steel cage 10-person tag team match. The Queen's Quest team, Azumi, Hina, Lady C, Miyu Amasaki, Saya Kamatani, and Utami, defeating the Oedo Tai team of Momo Watanabe, Natsuko Tora, Rina, Ruaka, Saki Kashima, and Starlight Kid in 23 minutes and 23 seconds. And this, once again, was an escape rules. The last person in the cage would have to leave their unit. The escapes were
Why
as
was the
followed.
referee in there?
Well, you got to have someone, keeping a little bit of order.
Yeah, because it was like there. When it started, I was like, "Oh, that's too many people in there."
There were a lot of people, and everyone was moving around, and they kept cutting to that above camera, which made it even harder to tell what was going on. And for a while, I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah. I kept mixing people up when they were just having with the same outfits and stuff. Like I thought it was Ruaka that escaped the cage when it was really Momo and stuff. Like it's just like, oh god, there's so much happening all at once.
And I think the other reason the ref was in the cage was for a little cut, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, duh. Okay, that makes sense. Did you notice when he almost got brained with the suitcase?
No, I don't think I did.
They tossed it, and then it's like whoever it was supposed to hit ducked, and they didn't. I don't think they realized that the referee was right behind him, and he luckily moved at the last second and almost got smashed in the face with it.
The order of escape was Rina, Hina, Miyu Amasaki, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, Lady C, Saya Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, and Utami. They're missing Azumi, who did escape. Saki Kashima, the last in the cage, and was brutally stomped out by the other members. Well, not the other members, the only members of Oedo Tai. After the match, I thought I wrote, as you just said, the beginning of the match. I was like, "What's happening here?" There's a lot of people wrestling and a lot of people doing many different things. But I thought it was sort of fun chaos. I actually thought I started to lose a little interest when it got down to like 2v2, when it was like, or 3v2 when it was Saki, Ruaka, and Natsuko.
Because it was very easy to forget Saki was there because she was just laying down for the longest time.
Well, there was a moment when I was like, oh, it's Natsuko and Utami final two. And they were like fighting in the middle of the ring, and the camera cut to a different angle, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there's Saki Kashima laying on the ground over there for like
I thought she
10
got
minutes
legit
at
hurt.
a time." Yeah, but then of course I thought it picked up when all our wishes were fulfilled. Utami coming up bloodied. A bummer they couldn't do this for the other number of matches where I've wished for blood. But look, you take what you got. And I did also like the big ending beat. I thought it was well done with climbing the cage. Tommy climbing the cage. Saya up there gets handed the bat and doesn't turn on Utami and instead beats up Oedo Tai. I thought it was a good beat. I thought they didn't if WWE did that beat.
Yeah, they didn't fully NXT it.
It would have taken like 9 minutes for all that to happen, where it was just like, oh, they climbed up. I think everyone knew what was going to happen in terms of like what the either or was going to be, where it's like, oh, she gets a bat. What is she going to do? And then she was just like, oh, and I hit Oedo Tai.
We would still be watching this match if the Bloodline were involved.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. Then Utami escaping the cage, as I said, Saki left. Kelly, I'm interested to know what you went on this match, because the match ended and I was sort of like, I did like it. I don't know that I loved it as a match.
No, it's a much better story match than it is an in-ring match.
As a weird,
yeah.
I was like, it was good, but I'm not, I was looking on the Voices of Wrestling Discord very briefly, and I saw some people who were like, oh, this is the best match in Stardom history. And to me, it just has the weird feeling of, there was a lot where I was just sort of watching and I'm like, there's a lot going on that I'm sort of processing and I'm enjoying it, but not that I wasn't enjoying it, but sort of not in the way that I enjoy matches that I think, wow, this match is really good. I was like, oh, I'm having fun, but just sort of, like you said, watching a story more than watching like, oh, this is great wrestling.
Yeah. I ended up at 3 3/4 on it.
I wrote 4.5, and then I wrote a big question mark.
Like because like ultimately I did enjoy the match. I think it was good. I liked the story they told. I thought it was good to see, hey, the good guys overcame the bad guys and friendship won. That's cool. I like that. Where I don't know. I think as a unit, like someone leaving the unit, like Saki leaving doesn't really shake up the units at all in any kind of interesting degree. Like let's say Saya had turned on Utami. That is a big moment. That is a big unit shakeup right there. Like that would have had huge implications for all the other groups. Whereas Saki leaves and it's just like, oh, okay, she'll go somewhere, not really affect anything.
Although I do want to say that big points for me, who absolutely nailed it.
Oh yeah.
In the preview said that it wouldn't be Utami, it would not be Saya, it would be someone very small.
I did like that Rina and Hina and Miyu Amasaki were just like, oh, we're getting out of here early because we are the ones most likely to be forgotten about in this cage and get moved on.
Lady C did stick around for a while, and I thought looked very good. At one point, she got Starlight Kid off the top rope and like gave her a huge choke slam, which I thought looked really good. Wearing her Beetlejuice attire, Beetlejuice type pants. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I also feel like I would like them to do it like more things like this, because it feels very like, oh, we did it last year because they had the big match, and then they're like, oh, we'll do it again this year, and now it's time for the cage, and it just feels like a strange.
I'm not a fan of that stuff where it's like, oh, it's this day on the calendar, time for this gimmick match. Like, I'm not a fan of that. I do wish they would feel, I guess, more organic. You don't need to just place it in the same spot in the calendar every year. Was it in the same location this year as last year?
I don't remember I don't remember,
because I'm wondering if it's
year, but it was like the same day.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if it's like the cage they use, like the person they rent it from or whatever lives down the street or something. So it's just like, oh, this is the easiest place to do it.
Yeah, while we're here, we'll come back the same time and use it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wish they would do it more, because now it feels like, oh, in a week, which we'll talk about in a second, they're just sort of going back to the normal, like, oh, going back to the big show.
Yeah.
Sort of feeling.
I hope next year they go full Dragon Gate Dead or Alive and they get like those crazy machines that shoot out volleyballs.
Yeah.
Because those things are fucking great. I loved whatever the like pressurized air cannon thing that Azumi had at one point and just shot, because it wasn't a fire extinguisher. I don't know what it was that she was spraying at the Wait on Time member, but that was hilarious.
Although the only fear with a, volleyball gun would be if you hit the cage might fall over.
That's true.
Like, it just shoots right through the cage and the cage falls, and, You can't have that happen.
Because the cage does, like, it bows real bad when they lean up against it.
Yeah, and like grabbing it to climb, I'm like, ooh, I don't know what's going on that metal.
Did you notice when Ruaka climbed down, like, when she got down, she had the kind of moment of, whew. Like, she looked like she was very concerned for her well-being climbing down that cage.
Well, yeah, and she climbed all the way to essentially
Yes.
the ring mat and then did the very small hop off that was like, some people got over and they're like, here I go, wee.
Yeah.
She was like, no, I'm going the entire way down this cage. But lots of jumping off the cage. One of the big reasons I could never be a pro wrestler is, well, there's many reasons, but a big one here was you could not pay me any amount of money to have someone jump off the top of a cage and double stomp anywhere near me.
No.
Because that happened and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Not for me. Because that seems, obviously they're being safe, but I'm like, that looks like it could be very painful.
Yeah, no thanks. It looked like, I don't think she got her at all, which is good, but that's still no thank you.
But that was Stardom Sunshine from June 25th. What else has been going on in the world of Joshi? Well, in Stardom, as we talked about, Mariah May and Hanan winning the 5-star Grand Prix qualifying Rumble to punch their tickets into the tournament. In Oz Academy, Itsuki Aoki became the #1 contender for the Pioneer title by beating Ryo Mizunami and Sayori Ano in a match on Oz's June 25th show. Ice Ribbon, Totsuro Satsuki successfully defended her Ice Infinity title again against Yappy. And in Diana, Ayako Sato and Hanako Nakamori defeated Spice App, Mike Ozaki, and Tai Hanma to win the Diana tag titles in Wave. The Catch the Wave tournament continues in the Young Block. Chie Ozora has taken the lead over Yura Suzuki 7-5. Yuki Miyazaki leading the Elizabeth block with 8 points, 4 points clear of Mizuki Endo and Kaori Yoneyama. In the A block, Asuka remains at the top of the leaderboard. As in the B block, Risa, Sarah, and Saki still tied, but in the C block, Haruka Umasaki now on top with 5 points ahead of Hikari Shimizu with 4. So that is everything that has been coming up. That has happened in the last 2 weeks of Joshi. But what is coming up in Joshi Stardom? Just in another week has another big show there. July 2nd, Midsummer Champions Show, which will be as follows. Saya Ida, Hazuki, and Aya Sakura will take on Suzu Suzuki, Mei Sierra, and Hanako in the opening match on that one. Suri and Ami Sourei will take on the new tag champions in a non-title match, Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May. A Kelly's favorite passion injection match, Nanai Takahashi will take on Starlight Kid.
Starlight Kid has plenty of passion.
She needs more.
She doesn't need more.
Inject.
She's just overflowing with passion.
So much injection going on in Stardom. It's like 1982 WWF. Got him. And then we will see Natsupoi against Sayori Ano in an Indian strap match. Certainly a problematic name, it feels to me.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, is this an okay thing to say?
I guess so. They're saying it. The rules will be they will be not chained together, but connected with a strap, and you have to drag your opponent and touch all 4 corners to win the match. And also, the use of any other types of straps are legal. So if they happen to find more straps around the ringside area, then they can use them.
Oh, geez. That's an issue that happens quite a bit.
What are all these straps doing here? And then the new high-speed champion, Saki Kashima, will defend her high-speed title against, who else? Fukigen Death. Welcome back to the era of the same 4 people doing high-speed title matches.
But
We're
you know
back,
what?
baby.
This is newly interesting now, though. It's because of
Why?
the
'Cause
the
she's
Wado
not
Tai.
Oedo Tai.
Yeah, versus Fukigen, who was or is, but will she like break away because of something? Or so I think that's an interesting turn.
That is true. You are right about that, but
Yeah,
she still
there's
has the
something to
flash
it.
roll up she can do. There is something you're right. There is something more than nothing to it. You are correct in that. And then in the main event, boy, a Kelly special,
Whew.
Tom Nakano will defend the Wonder of Stardom title against Mirai. Kelly, who do you hope wins this match?
I hope Tom wins because I think that's the funnier outcome.
Oh, that's right. You did talk about.
Yeah, I am at full. I don't care. Like I know. Look, I know I'm not gonna like this match. I flat out know that. So I just want it to entertain me in some way. And the way I want that to be is Mirai losing.
Well, it looks to me as if Mirai will win.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. Stardom also has a Korakuen Hall show coming up on July 9th, which will see another generational. Well, this will be a generational elimination match that will main event that show.
Is it the
Seedling
same
has a
teams
show.
as last time?
It is. I'll tell you who the teams are. It's
Because if it's
on
the same teams as
Stardom.
last time, that match is probably gonna rule.
The teams are as follows for the generational elimination match. It will be Tom Nakano, Mayu Iwatani, Suri, and Julia will take on Saya Kamatani, Maika, Suzu Suzuki, and Mirai.
I think that I don't remember Mirai being in the last one, but maybe she was. But either way, that's close enough to where, yeah, I think that match is going to be pretty good.
Well, unfortunately, maybe we'll be able to review it if they put it up very fast.
Yeah, we'll see.
Fingers crossed. Seedling has a show on June 28th, main evented by 2 title matches. The tag titles will be on the line as Asuka and Makoto will defend against Riko Kaiju and Ayame Sasamura. And Arisa Nakajima will defend her Beyond the Sea title against Itsuki Aoki in the main event. Also on that show, Ryu Mizunami, Hanako Nakamori, and Hiroyo Matsumoto will take on Natsu Sumire, Maya Yukihi, and Mima Shimoda. A very interesting trio there. A high-speed match, La Pedita, Leon, and Misa Kagura in a 3-way high-speed match. And Yu will take on Kakeru Sakaguchi in a singles match. So an interesting show there. Oz has a show on July 9th as well, but the big show of July 9th will be Tokyo Joshi's Summer Sun Princess show. The show will open with Juria Nagano's comeback match.
Yay!
Suzume and Ariso Endo will take on Moka Miyamoto and Juria Nagano, the reunited, once again, Karate Kids. Kelly,
that's a banger of an opener right there.
Kelly, do you think Mocha gets new gear for this big show?
Fucking I hope so. Do it, Mocha. Get matching gear with Juria. Don't get her your gear. Have Juria's gear people make you gear, and we'll see how it goes.
God, that would be funny if Juria came out in Mocha's gear. And it was like spreading.
That's why I didn't. That's why I specified, because I was like, you can't monkey paw me.
That is a move I would respect. I would have big respect for that move. The power move of being like, you don't like it? Great. Even more people are going to wear the gear. The next match will be Mahiro Kiryu, Haruna Neko, Himawari, and Shino Suzuki taking on Kaya Toribami, Toga, Haru Karashira, and Runa Okubo in the traditional get 'em on the card match. Kelly, who gets the win here?
Probably Kiryu. She probably picks up the win.
That's what I was thinking too. Then it will be a tag match. Ryo Mizunami and Nao Kakuta will take on Yuki Kamifuku and Asuka. Interesting.
Wow, talk about a passion injection.
What?
Talk about a passion injection. This is the Mizunami whenever she comes into Tokyo Joshi. Those are the true passion injection matches.
Oh, that's right. That's the actual passion.
Yeah.
Then there will be I haven't looked this up, but I'm going to say it very confidently because I'm pretty sure I'm right. For the first time ever in Tokyo Joshi, the Defy Women's title will be on the line as the champion Vixen.
The Vertical Vixen?
The Vertigo Vixen.
Oh, there you go.
On Hikari Noa. Do you think Hikari Noa ends the match as Defy Women's Champion?
Probably not, but who's to say? Like, with the amount of Tokyo Joshi women that are coming over to the States on a regular basis, yeah, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility.
I will also say this show is chock full of Gaijin singles matches. That doesn't really add to your point or take away from it, but but the fact it's more likely maybe Hikari Noa goes over and someone beats her or someone comes back, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
The next match is a 3-way tag match. The classic duo, Shoko Nakajima and Hyper Misao, will take on Aja Kong and Raku and Max the Impaler and Palm Harajuku.
This is my most anticipated match of the show by far. And that's saying a lot because this is a good card.
Kelly, who comes out on top in this one?
The fans.
Okay, thanks, PR department. Yeah, I think it's going to be quite a fun match. I'm glad to see Max back.
Glad to see them with Palm.
Yeah. Of course, wouldn't be a big show without a big Hyper Misao match, of course. So this one should be a lot of fun before we get to the more business end of the card, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, that match is going to be big and stupid, and I can't wait.
The next match will be Nyla Rose, originally scheduled to take on Yuka Sakazaki, will now take on Miyu Watanabe. And Kelly, does Miyu get Nyla up for the giant swing?
I think they will try their damnedest to make it happen. I don't know if Miyu will be able to, but I sure hope she can. Because I can tell, for a fact, Nyla's flying over there and being like, all right, you're going to swing the hell out of me.
I mean, she almost did it with Aja Kong.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I think they'll figure out a way to make it happen.
I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
I'm confident. The next match, another Gaijin singles match, Miyu Yamashita, recently returning from her trip abroad, will take on another returnee, Sawyer Wreck. Kelly, is Miyu going to be able to get those kicks up high enough to get Sawyer in the head?
I was just thinking that. I don't know. That one's... That's tough. I think she might be able to do the bounce off the corner pad thing and do it, but I don't know if she can do it standing.
And I do feel like I'll be interested to see this match because I do feel like sometimes Miyu has struggled a bit with wrestlers who are bigger than her.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like her offense is set up for people at her same size. Um, so we'll have to see, but happy to have Miyu back in Tokyo Joshi. She returned just this weekend. So that is good. In the third match from the top, Niyu Bashiki-gun reunites once again. Saki-sama and Mei San Michel will take on Yuki Arai and Wakana Uehara. A big spot for Uehara. Kelly, do you think Niyu Bashiki-gun returns with a victory here?
I sure hope so. I don't think I could take seeing Neo Bishiki-gun lose.
I hope that they do their same entrance that they did from the last show where all the members come out.
Yes.
Because you never, you just think with the way life works, you never know when the last Neo Bashiki-gun match will be.
Yeah.
And so I hope
maybe
all
they
the
could
members
add,
are there.
maybe we'll see a new member. Who knows?
Maybe Uehara will become the, I don't know. I don't know why I think that. Maybe it will happen. Maybe it won't happen. I'm not promising
Maybe
anything.
Uehara will start shining the silverware in their mansion.
Then the semi-main event will be for the International Princess title. The champion Rika Tatsumi will go against Yuki Aino. Kelly, do you think we see a title change here?
I don't think so. But Aino looked really good in that finals match for the match against, what was it, Endo? Yeah. Like she looked great there. So it could, but I'm gonna say no. I think Tatsumi retains in what I'm hoping is a very good match. Because Aino's been on a good streak lately.
And I'm going to say that the title will change just to be different than you. Just because I don't want to agree with you ever.
That's fine. That's fair.
And then the big main event for the Princess of Princess title, Mizuki will take on Maki Ito. Kelly, is this finally the time where Maki Ito reaches the top of the mountain?
I honestly hope not, because this is, I think, the least built up of her challenges. So I think if it happened now, it would just kind of be like, oh, well, that's cool, that's nice, instead of it being like, oh, this is the peak of a story. So I'm hoping Mizuki wins, or retains, I should say.
Oh, I don't know. I'm torn because I'm like, they've built it up a lot in the past and she hasn't won, but
now that they do it when it doesn't
know.
really feel super built up, that would be the time.
So we'll have to see, but should be a big match either way.
Mm-hmm.
And a big show and a fun show. And I'm looking very much forward to it.
Yes, for sure.
The only other thing happening in the next 2 weeks is Wave has some more Catch the Wave shows as they head towards the finals on July 17th. But that is all that is coming up in Joshi in the next 2 weeks. So I hand it over to Kelly for his usual end of the show segment.
All right, end of the show, Kelly. What have I been doing? I have started watching from the beginning all the movies that Takeshi Kitano directed. So I started with Violent Cop and Boiling Point, and those are both great movies. Have you seen either of those?
I have not.
They're very good. They're on Amazon Prime. You can watch them for free with ads through like some thing called Freevee or whatever. Very good movies, like kind of just bleak but also funny Yakuza style movies. They're a good time. So that's Kelly's recommendation this week: Violent Cop and Boiling Point.
Well, there you have it. That is Kelly's recommendation for the week. And that is all for us here at Jumping Bomb Audio. So for Kelly, I am Taylor saying we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Hello, do you like New Japan Pro Wrestling? Are you a Shin Nihon freak? If so, check out the Super J-Cast with Joel and Damon on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
And even if you fucking hate New Japan Pro Wrestling, listen to the Super J-Cast anyway. Not just for our great show reviews, analysis, and pastrami sandwiches, but there's also usually some dick jokes somewhere in the obligatory opening 30 minutes of absolute nonsense we chat about every single week. That's the Super J-Cast for all the best talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, crisps, and pornography.
Hola, my name is Ricardo. I am the host of the Lucha Jovers podcast here in the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. We are a Spanish-speaking show dedicated to discussing and analyzing pro wrestling from all across the world. From AEW to CMLL, we talk about American wrestling, Japanese wrestling, and of course, Lucha Libre. If something big happened in the pro wrestling world, we will talk about it. So if you know Spanish or have a friend that knows Spanish or want to practice your Lucha Libre pronunciations, go listen to the Lucha Jovers podcast right here in the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. Nos vemos por ahí.